Well. I think I've heard the dumbest statement I've heard of 2024. And we all know there have been some absolutely crazy things going on in 2024. I mean, especially since we have a presidential election coming up. I mean, the things that are coming out of these politicians' mouth, I mean, it's just crazy. But Stephen A. Smith has topped every politician, every TV personality, every entertainer. I mean, Stephen A. Smith deserves an award for the most insane, crazy, disillusioned statement of the year. What does this have to do with the Dallas Cowboys? Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Let's talk facts. Man, today when I say haters, I mean it on a whole nother level. I like Stephen A. Smith. I like anybody who's trying to make an honest living and they're doing things the right way. But Stephen A. Smith needs to be studied. It needs to be studied at how much this man keeps Dak Prescott's name in his mouth. And I'm not saying that in a vulgar way. I'm being sincere when I'm saying I'm actually starting to believe that Stephen A. Smith is a clout chaser. And someone says, oh man, he's got his own fame and he's already proclaimed himself. I mean, he's taking that LeBron James approach. He's crowning himself as number one in his field. Ooh, boy, we're going to get there too. But why do you keep this man's name in your mouth? Before he got the contract, you were talking about him. He don't deserve the contract. Well, he got the contract. It's a good thing that wasn't up to you, huh? And the funny thing is, I think you ought to be thanking your lucky stars that the contract that you are so heavily begging ESPN for, the one that you are literally crying about, boy, you ought to be glad that's not only in Dak Prescott's hands. You ought to be glad that that's not even in your colleagues' hands. Because I bet even your colleagues would have something to say about what you said, saying you've been number one in your field. What field? Sports debate? Stephen A. Smith, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You do know sports debate is dying, right? Sports debate is dying. I mean, people are really getting tired of it. I mean, it's like you guys aren't even doing journalism. You shouldn't even wear the name sports journalist. What journalism are you doing? I bet you don't even look up the stats for the players. I bet you don't do any research because you have researchers. One thing I'll give Skip Bayliss, I really believe you're the black Skip Bayliss. I mean, I believe that's why y'all got along so good. You're the black Skip Bayliss because you are no longer about journalism. You are about sensationalism. It's like you just try to find the most outlandish things you can say, and in the way that you say it, because you have a very unique way of saying things. I mean, you have a large vocabulary, and so you use that large vocabulary to say really nothing, but it's so entertaining how you're saying it. It needs to be studied how much Stephen A. Smith keeps talking about another man's money. Man, let your work speak for itself. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. You don't need to compare yourself to Pat McAfee, Max Kellerman. Oh, we're going to mention that too. You don't need to compare yourself to Jason Whitlock. You don't need to compare yourself to anyone. Your work ought to speak for itself. And it is speaking loud. You look like an idiot. And you're too smart for it, Stephen A. Smith. You're too smart for it. I watch your Stephen A. Smith show from time to time, and that's the real Stephen A. Smith. At least that's what I choose to believe. Because on that show, you make a whole lot of sense. You speak a whole lot of sense. I don't agree with everything that you're saying, but you come off on your show like, okay, that's Stephen A. Smith. But what you do on ESPN and what you're doing out here in the public, every opportunity that you get, okay, it's funny. You troll the Dallas Cowboys, but what you are doing to Dak Prescott, somebody need to tell you, bro, it's not right. It's not right. Because we know you moved the goalpost when it comes to everyone else, because you created a standard that should not be a standard. You said because Dak Prescott wears a star on his helmet, he has to be held to a higher standard. Why? Because you're comparing him to Troy Aikman, who played during a non-salary cap era? Because you're comparing him to who? Roger Staubach, who played during a non-salary cap era? I challenge you, do some sports journalism. Compare the 92, 93, 94, 95 Cowboys. Go down the line on that offense and that defense. And let's put those teams up against even Tony Romo and Dak Prescott's team. And you show me, sports journalists, where Dak Prescott and Tony Romo ever played with that many Hall of Famers on the field at the same time. I would dare say at this point, we don't even know. Dak Prescott may have played with 4 Hall of Famers on that Dallas Cowboy team. Tony Romo may have played with 4 or 5 Hall of Famers on that team. Troy Aikman was surrounded by Hall of Famers, men like Darren Woodson who deserve to be in there and they ain't even in there yet. What are you comparing him to? What are you comparing him to? Because we have watched many who have come along, got paid, didn't win. But boy, you love to pick on Dak Prescott. I know why he's low-hanging fruit, because Dak Prescott, we know he's not going to do a lot of talking about you. He's not going to try to call you out. He's a very humble man, but he's a leader of men, and he don't focus on negativity. He don't focus on what other men do. He don't focus on what other men say. He's just focusing on doing what he does, and he's trying to do it to the best of his ability with nowhere near the talent that he needs. But you, Stephen A. Smith, we're going to talk facts about you. Let's go down the line because it is amazing to me. We're going to watch this video first of what you said about Dak Prescott, so everyone can hear how insane what you said is. Let's roll this.
Your ESPN contract,
yes, sir,
is what we're told up next year. And the word on the street is that you want something in the range of $100 million for 5 years.
Right.
True?
I'm not getting specific as it pertains to numbers because only a fool discusses his own negotiations while negotiating. I would ask respectfully, pay attention to the industry, see what people are getting paid, see how much money they're making and what they're bringing to the table. Dak Prescott just signed a contract for $240 million. He's making $60 million a year. He made sure to get—
I know, he's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys,
who has won 2 playoff games in 8 years. I've been number 1 for 12. I'm sorry. In our respective industries, I win. And I'm fully aware of what I'm worth. And I will never apologize to that for anybody.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Stephen A. Smith is doing what Stephen A. Smith does when it comes to Dak Prescott. Now watch this. He said that if you check in his industry first and you look at what others are making and he's bringing more to the table than them, let's see, who could he be talking about? Let's see. He's not talking about Marcellus Wiley. Can't be talking about him. He's not talking about Jason Whitlock. Nah, can't be talking about him. He can't be talking about Skip Bayliss, which I'm thinking Skip Bayliss was making more than him, but he can't be talking about him. He definitely cannot be talking about Colin Cowherd, because as much as I don't like Colin Cowherd does a better job in what he does, and you could disagree with that, but I think we know who he's talking about. He brings up Dak Prescott. I'm going to address that in a moment. But you know who he's bringing up? He's bringing up none other than, he's talking about none other than Pat McAfee. I got news for you, Stephen A. Smith. Maybe no one has told you this, but if you were all that and a bag of chips, because I'm pretty sure that Disney and ESPN has every number, every metric that they need to determine what anybody is worth. Stephen A. Smith, I got news for you. If you were all that in a bag of chips, why in the world do they bring on Pat McAfee? What they doing, Stephen A. Smith? What are they doing? Are they trying to negotiate your contract with you? Or are they telling you that, okay, you need to take a pay cut because you're not as popular as Pat McAfee? Or what are they trying to tell you? Because they brought Pat McAfee on, making more money than you. I don't even understand how Dak Prescott comes in. Hey, this guy makes a perfect point. He's the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. This is pure comedy. Stephen A. Smith, I'm going to say it again. You're smarter than this. You owe Dak Prescott an apology, but you're not going to do it. You owe not only Dak Prescott an apology, you owe your own industry an apology. Who are you comparing yourself to? Where has anyone ever said that Stephen A. Smith is the #1 sports journalist on TV? Who said it? I've never heard nobody say it. The only one I keep hearing say it is you. And I said the same thing you said about Dak Prescott that you said about yourself. You said, I'll never devalue myself. That's basically what you did. You said. And I was saying the same thing about Dak Prescott. I love the fact that he won't devalue himself. But what I'm laughing at is that you, Stephen A. Smith, who has never been as successful in your field, you in La La Land, you've never been as successful in your field as Dak Prescott has been in his field, even though he's 2-5 in the playoffs. When have you ever been truly #1? Who are you comparing yourself to? You're talking about sports debate shows? Come on, Stephen A. Smith. And for you to say you're not negotiating your contract in the court of public opinion or in the public, that's exactly what you're doing. For you to make the statement that you just made, that's exactly what you're doing, and everybody knows. But hold on a second. I got a few things for you. I mean, you're smarter than me. And I'm pretty sure that if you want to respond to this video, I'm pretty sure that because you don't do journalism anymore, at least, in the sports world. I think on your own show, you do some things, but I'm pretty sure you got writers there too. But I want to look at some things that I kind of made some notes of. So you're comparing yourself to an NFL quarterback. And not just any NFL quarterback. You can say anything you want to say about Dak Prescott. He got some skins on that wall, brother. He got some skins on that wall. And I just want to ask the question. So you all that in a bag of chips, why is ESPN losing money? Why is ESPN continuing to lay off employees? Why are they doing it? Why has there been talk that Disney ought to sell off ESPN? I wonder why. Are you carrying the network on that level? Because if you were, I don't care what you say. They don't bring in Pat McAfee. They just would have extended you. Why not give you that money? I know why. Because Stephen A. Smith, whether you recognize it or not, Pat McAfee is more popular than you. He is. He's more popular than you. He had a show that was better than yours. Pat McAfee, even though he got the bag coming to ESPN, but his following was way larger than yours. Way larger than yours on an independent show. I don't understand why he gave up that independence. I heard what he said, all the day-to-day stuff, but I'm wondering if he regrets that now because he lost a lot of his audience. Why? Coming to ESPN. We know who you're talking about. You can bring up Dak Prescott all you want to. But who you really talking about is Pat McAfee. And now you putting the pressure. You putting the pressure on. But I would dare say, it's funny that y'all are losing money at ESPN. And in order for them to get you, you're going to be probably working on 5 or 6 shows. Because they're going to have to cut a whole lot of folk because they already cutting folk. They're going to cut a whole lot of folk to pay you, I guess, that $100+ million contract you looking for to get on TV and clown. But isn't it funny that y'all losing money? Meanwhile, Dak Prescott is the quarterback of the most valuable sports franchise in the world. And even though they haven't won a Super Bowl, it's strange. They're worth even more not winning. And I think this is one of Jerry's problems, is because they're winning without winning. But make no mistake about it, you can't even put your name in the same conversation as Dak Prescott. It's kind of funny, Stephen A. Smith, because I was doing some research. Because you said that you are number one in your prospective field, but it's strange that no one says that. No one says that. You actually can't find that written anywhere. I mean, I'm all over the internet trying to find where people are saying that you are number one. You're self-proclaimed number one. But I don't see where no one else is saying that. I then decided, I said, well, hey, let me go and look at your accolades. I mean, I'm going to Wikipedia. And, I went to Wikipedia, and I thought it was strange when I went to Wikipedia. And I know Wikipedia, it can't be trusted accurately. But what I found to be strange is I'm looking you up on Wikipedia. I mean, I don't see where they have a lot of awards for you. I mean, where are the awards? I mean, they're talking about things that you've done. And like I said, I got a lot of respect for you. I like what you do on the Stephen A. Smith show. But this other stuff you do, I mean, man, you really need to check yourself. Because you are a grown man who I believe is about 56 years old, and you running around here talking about a 30-year-old man who just trying to do the best that he can do. And nobody's caring about you critiquing this man's game. But why couldn't you mention Tua Tagovailoa? What has he done? Why couldn't you bring up any other quarterback? I mean, you could have brought up Daniel Jones. Why didn't you bring up Daniel Jones? Why did you not bring up Trevor Lawrence, who was supposed to be a generational talent? He's supposed to be a generational talent, and we haven't seen any of it, but boy, he's getting paid like a generational talent. It's strange to me, Stephen A. Smith. You didn't compare yourself to anyone but who? Dak Prescott. And I'm looking at your resume. I can't find nothing where anybody in your field is saying you number one. I ain't heard nobody say it. I'm looking for awards that you have gotten. And it's strange, Stephen A. Smith. Can't find hold on a second. I did find some awards, and maybe somebody will correct me. But I can tell you this, if you have won some, they are obviously so far and in between as it applies to your field that they're not on the internet for everyone to see. I'm looking here, and looks like you got a Webby Award. Let's see here. Honoree, Social Celebrity Fan. What? Okay, you got the Shorty Awards nominee 2020 Shorty Award Best Journalist. What in the world's the Shorties? And it looks like you got the award or 2020 nominee. I don't know. No, it's the nominee. You're not the winner. That's right. You're not the winner. 2020. You're not the winner. But you're saying that you're more in your field. You win. Where? Where do you win? Oh, okay, let's keep going. So you got the Soap Hub Award. I mean, other than that, maybe these other things that you have won are so prestigious that nobody's putting it on Wikipedia, nobody's putting it on IMDB or anything. I wonder why your awards, your accolades, they're so hard to find. Where are the peers in your industry who are recognizing you as the best? I haven't heard no one say it. Now I'm hearing Stephen A. Smith say it, but I'm not hearing no one else say it. Then you know what Stephen A. Smith said? I'm an old cat too. I remember you back in the day. This is why your book, I can't remember the name of your book, but it's something about second chances. I wonder why you talk about second chances, because I remember your failure when you first came to television, when you failed, when you had the Stephen A. Smith show. I remember those days. And you know what? It's so funny. I remember something that Shannon Sharpe said. Shannon Sharpe said that if Skip Bayliss built him, why don't he do it again? He did it again, Shannon Sharpe, because he did it first with Stephen A. Smith. Hello? You can talk bad about Skip Bayliss all you want to, but all I see when I see you is the black Skip Bayliss. All of the extreme takes, saying things that it's like you just say things so you can get a reaction out of people. Where is the real sports journalism? Had it not been for Skip Bayliss, I haven't read your book, but I hope you got 2 or 3 chapters dedicated to Skip Bayliss. Because you can tell any story you want to, but I used to watch Cold Pizza. I watched it. And Skip Bayliss, in a lot of those debates, was mopping the floor with you, Stephen A. Smith. And that's fact. But, you know, I don't know if you can call that so much something that would necessarily be objective in some instances, because we're talking about, it's not even journalism what these sports debate shows are. And that's why they're dying. Because now it's about people who just make the craziest takes so they can get the clicks, the watches, and the conversations. And what you said is shameful, Stephen A. Smith, because you know what you said is absolutely insane and you're too smart for it. I remember your show. And you know what I really find to be strange? You're not arguably even the most popular person on your show. Because I find it to be strange how your ratings took off when Shannon Sharpe got on there. Now, a lot of people don't understand why y'all were able to beat FS1. FS1 was behind the 8 ball from the moment they started that network. Because ESPN, whether anyone knows it, because of the Disney, the ABC, all of those different things, ESPN is in way more homes than FS1. The facility can't compete with y'all, even though I think that the facility is better. Because they're not trying to do all the sports debating stuff. Because when you look at the facility, they're talking facts. You can tell those are people that are doing their homework. But you, Stephen A. Smith, the things that you say, the things that you're doing, this is absolutely insane for you to compare yourself to Dak Prescott. Why would you do that? Tell me, how can you compare what you do to what he does? Because you're not out there putting your life on the line. You didn't have your ankle twisted backwards. You're not out there putting your life on the line behind a rookie line where at any moment you could get knocked out of the game and your career could be over. Where are you doing that, Stephen A. Smith? How in the world do you have the unmitigated gall, the audacity to compare yourself to an NFL quarterback, a professional football player, even an NBA player? You already got clowned for that. It's insane that you would do that. And you did it. What's so funny, and it's not funny, you did it with a straight face. What? Let's just follow this. It can even be argued that Shannon Sharpe is more popular than you on your show. Why do you think they brought Mad Dog on the show? Because they needed it. And I'm going to say the quiet parts out loud. See, you didn't like Max Kellerman. See, you out here talking all crazy about Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith. But I used to watch you with Max Kellerman because I really stopped watching First Take when Skip Bayliss left, but I wanted to see what Max Kellerman was going to bring to the show. And see, the reason why you didn't like Max Kellerman, because let's just be honest, he wasn't with your buffoonery. He wasn't with it. All the buffoonery, he wasn't with it. He was killing you in those debates. Why? Because Max Kellerman was bringing straight facts. He was bringing straight facts. And you can say what you want to. People didn't like him. No, it's not that they didn't like him. But he wouldn't put up with your foolishness. And he was clowning and killing you with the facts. And so you couldn't clown him like you clown a lot of folk on your show with all of your comic relief. Come on, Stephen A. Smith. You're not the most popular person on ESPN. Because if you were, they wouldn't have ran and got Max Kellerman. And that's just the facts, Jack. You can take it how you want to. And for you to say you win in your industry, what are you winning? What are you winning? What have you won? Please don't brag about beating FS1 because it don't matter who they had at FS1 in that time slot. They were not beating y'all just based on the logistics. ESPN is in more homes than FS1, and that is the facts. And I find it to be strange that you're comparing yourself to Dak Prescott, Rookie of the Year. You're comparing yourself to Dak Prescott, NFL Man of the Year. Dak Prescott, who may be 2-5 in the playoffs, but nobody wants to talk about why he's 2-5 in the playoffs. When he went up against a Green Bay team, fell behind, brought him all the way back, and it took a miracle catch and a miracle field goal to beat him. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about when he played the Los Angeles Rams and he was the only one who was balling on the team. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about the fact. Do y'all know who's the last quarterback to beat the GOAT, Tom Brady? Dak Prescott was almost flawless that day. And now we're realizing something. We're talking about Dak Prescott, but we now see where Kellen Moore has went to the San Diego Chargers. Now he's with the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're talking about he's the boy wonder. Talking about he made Dak Prescott look good. I wish Colin Cowherd would start. I wish he would start retracting his words because he started talking about how good Justin Herbert was going to look because Herbert is better than Dak Prescott, and how Jalen Hurts gonna look when he gets Kellen Moore because he's better than Dak Prescott. I got news for y'all. Dak Prescott was winning in spite of Kellen Moore, and he made Kellen Moore look good, and Kellen Moore didn't make him look good. Maybe them losses in the playoffs, all of those were not Dak Prescott. Now, last year, the whole team, they just seemed to lay an egg, but it wasn't even just laying an egg. They couldn't stop the run, and they couldn't run. So what is Dak gonna do with that? But at the end of the day, how you gonna compare yourself to this man? He knocked out the GOAT, second team All-Pro. Where your awards at? I'm just waiting on you to give us your awards. Second team All-Pro. Who's talking about you? I know who you talking about. Because you make a living off talking about men. I can deal with you talking about men's play on the field. But when you start talking about what men deserve, man, that's some strong words, Stephen A. Smith. The man is the highest paid man in NFL history. And you act like they gave it to him. I'm sorry, Dak Prescott earned that money. He earned that money. Whether you or anyone else like it, he earned that money. And you don't have the right. Now, you have the right as it applies to freedom of speech, and I'll never take that away. I'll never want that taken away, even with the most insane take of 2024. You need an award for that. Because this is the most insane take that any sports journalist, I don't care who that sports journalist is, it is the most insane, it is the most arrogant, it is the most doofus take that someone could make. Stephen A. Smith, you think you're worth $200 million. Then that's what you're worth. And if somebody willing to pay you that, that's what you're worth. But it's crazy to me that you would be out here in these streets, man. You ought to check yourself. This ain't even funny no more. Folk ain't laughing with you. They're laughing at you. Are you looking at social media? And I know you are, because I think you did it so you could get this kind of response. But I'm gonna tell you something, Stephen A. Smith. I'm just talking about on principle. If I were your bosses, you talking a lot of big game. Why don't you go out there and do it like Pat McAfee? I'd let you go. I'd let you go on principle. Because you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. You say you're not gonna negotiate your contract in public opinion, in the public, and that's exactly what you're doing, Stephen A. Smith. Because them statements, if I'm your bosses, I'm laughing, I'm rolling, I'm falling out of my chair, and I'm like, do we really want to re-sign this man? Oh, wait a minute. This is why we're going to re-sign him, because of that kind of comic relief, because there is no way that any journalist in this industry, there's no way any journalist would dare compare themselves to a professional football player. Of all things to compare yourself to, there's nobody hardly who puts their life on the line like a professional football player. Shame on you, Stephen A. Smith. Shame on you. If I was your bosses, you talking like this, you ain't threatening me. I'm gonna let you walk. Let's see you go out there and do it on them like Pat McAfee. Because we done seen this story before. We've seen it, Stephen A. It took Skip Bayliss to help you revive your career. It don't mean that you didn't have something to do with it. But I hope you got 3 or 4, 5 chapters dedicated to Skip Bayliss. And you ought not ever let a disrespectful word come out of your mouth when it comes to Skip Bayliss. Because even when it comes to Shannon Sharpe, you wouldn't even have Shannon Sharpe if it wasn't for Skip Bayliss, because Skip Bayliss helped revive Shannon Sharpe's career. You wouldn't even have Shannon Sharpe. You ought to be thanking Skip Bayliss twice, because if Skip don't bring him back on TV, Stephen A., guess what? You still don't have him, because you never would have knew of him. This is an absolute joke. If I was ESPN, I'd let you go on principle. You think you all that? Prove it. Prove it. Let another network pay you $125 million. Let another network pay it. I want to see it. I want to see who gonna do it, because it ain't gonna be TNT. It's not gonna be TNT. Who is it gonna be? I promise you FS1 is not gonna pay you $100 million, 90, 80 million. They're not even gonna give you the Skip Bayliss contract. I promise you they're not gonna do it. I'd let you walk on principle. And how disrespectful are you to your colleagues? How disrespectful are you? You number one in your industry? When it comes to sports journalism, I'll take Ryan Clark over you any day. I'll take Ryan Clark over you. And I'm not talking bad about you, but Ryan Clark is better than you in your field. He better than you in your field, because anybody who listens to Ryan Clark talk, they know Ryan Clark has done his homework. He's done his homework, and I'm sure he's got some guys giving him information too. But you can tell the way Ryan Clark is talking, no, Ryan Clark does his own homework too. He better than you, Stephen A. Smith. He'll never say it. I'll say it. And I bet you there's a whole lot of people that'll say it. He better than you, Stephen A. Smith. And for you to even be saying, you pulling the LeBron James, talking about he the GOAT. You the best in your field? You're not better than Ryan Clark. And that's not a knock on Ryan Clark. Like he's some low sports journalist. No. He better than you. Because he does his homework and he's not trying to be a clown. Ryan Clark said it best about you, Stephen A. Smith. If you didn't troll the Dallas Cowboys during the football season, nobody would watch First Take. Don't believe us? Cut them Dallas Cowboy segments. Cut them down to 30 seconds to 1 minute. Even on Get Up, they acknowledged. We talk about the Dallas Cowboys because people want to hear about them. Skip Bayliss made his whole career on the Dallas Cowboys. And you know why they turned on Skip Bayliss? He turned from the biggest Cowboy fan to the biggest Cowboy hater. And that's why so many turned on him. But what have you done, Stephen A. Smith? You have made a career out of trolling the Dallas Cowboys, and in particular, talking bad about Dak Prescott. Shame on you. Shame on you for doing that. What has he done to deserve it? Oh, because he 2-5? We can go down the line of people who were drafted in the first round. They're supposed to be way better than Dak Prescott, but they're not. Oh, but wait, you created a standard because he got a star on his helmet. That was the dumbest take I'd ever heard. A star on the helmet has nothing to do with the players around you and how your GM/owner/coach, because they're all 3-1, how they're proceeding around the team. Shame on you, Stephen A. Smith, to even say. I wonder how your colleagues feel. I got news for you. You're not better than Shannon Sharpe. Not when it comes to this sports stuff. You're not better than Shannon Sharpe. You're not better than Shannon Sharpe. And for you to even be saying you better than everybody, you number one, you win. Win what? Where's the awards? I don't even hear your peers talking about you number one. And if they hear this or somebody like me, they might come back and try to save face, but they can't save face because you're not. Shannon Sharpe helped you exponentially. Your ratings rose exponentially when Shannon Sharpe came on that thing. Stop it. Stop it, Stephen A. Smith. Stop it. And it's a shame that you would do another man like this. It's a shame. But prove us wrong, Stephen A. Smith. Stop talking about Dak Prescott. Let's see what happened to your views. Let's see what happens. Stop talking about Dak Prescott. Stop talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Let's see what happens to you then. Ryan Clark is 100% right. Nobody watching you. Because right now you look like you look like a clown. I was trying to find the ratings for the show that you keep talking about as number one, and I find it to be strange because the only thing that you could be talking about is in your time slot. But when we look at what you're going up against in your time slot, it never has been very strong. Because even when Shannon Sharpe was with Skip Bayliss, they didn't have a chance. They didn't have a chance. Why? Because FS1 is in ESPN, number one, is in more homes. ESPN, a lot more resources in a sense too. But I wanted to look at something else that I thought was kind of funny. You said in your field and all these things, and we're looking at ESPN, literally, there have been arguments about spinning off ESPN and selling it off because it's blatantly obvious they're not making money. But I'm looking at your viewership. I was looking at your viewership and how they're talking about y'all are up over year, but you're pulling in somewhere around 500,000 to 600,000 viewers a day. 500,000 to 600,000 views a day. That's what you're pulling in. So since November 24th of 2022, Dak Prescott has been in some of the most watched games in NFL history. In NFL history, here is the list of the top 10 most watched NFL games based on reported U.S. viewership. This list was compiled using historical data from Sports Media Watch and Statista. Look at this. Guess who got the number one ranked game? The Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants, 42.1 million. Let that sink in, Stephen A. Smith. You watched that game too, I guarantee you, because you love New York. Let's see here. The third ranked game, November 23rd, 2023. Cowboys 45, Washington 10. Guess who the quarterback was? 41.4 million. Let's see. Game number 6. Washington at the Cowboys. 31-26. $35.1 million. 35.1 million viewers. Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants. A lot of people say it was a boring game. Not to me. A win is a win. Loved it. Highest viewership on Thursday Night Football. What? When have you done that, Stephen A. Smith? Because when we're talking about the numbers you're talking about, let's stop trying to fool people, because those are not these kinds of numbers. It's not all eyes on you when you on Monday through Friday. It's not all eyes on you. I promise you, there's a lot of people don't look at you. A lot of people stopped watching your show when Skip Bayliss left. Some came back when Shannon Sharpe started watching. When Shannon Sharpe came on. But even then, people still not coming on like they used to. Because of the days of Stewart Scott, you can't hold a candle to them Rich Eisen and all those guys when it was really going. Nah, Stephen A. Smith, you ain't even there. Stop it. You're not there, and you're not close to there. I got a lot of respect for you, but what you're doing is absolutely insane. What you said is absolutely insane. And we're going to leave with this. I know this is why you did this. It's the only thing that makes sense to me. Because it's funny how nobody agrees with you. Now, this is Legion Hoops reporting what you said. I don't even think you couldn't have rehearsed that out loud. Look at this. Stephen A's job is just to act like I show speed, but with a suit. This is actually a based take. Look at how crazy. Look at this. Comparing a journalist job to football and wanting the same pay is crazy. Imagine playing this dude $100 million, paying this dude $100 million for 5 years. Now, you're bringing this on yourself because this is crazy. Look at this. No wonder ESPN is firing everyone. They're clearing cap space. I wonder how your colleagues feel while you're saying that you're worth $100 million or $125 million, and they're wondering if they're going to get fired. I wonder how they feel, knowing that you're not all that like you said is. Look at this. How many playoff games has Stephen A. Smith won? Look at this. You're getting tore up out here, bro. Tore up. Comparing yourself to a professional athlete is a different level. Look at this, bro. Bro got that max contract player aura. Bro, you're a sports. And I'm going to just say we need to even take with a grain of salt sports journalist. Because the reality is you don't give your opinion anymore based off of facts. You just really give your opinion a lot of times based on sensationalism. Look at this. Who does this N-word think he is? You getting clowned, bro. You getting clowned. Bro really thinks he puts in the same amount of work as a professional athlete. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. You don't put in near the work, nor do you put your life on the line the way this man and these other players do. It is a crying shame that you said this. I'm telling you, ESPN really fired all their smart talent at Zach Lowe and lost Woj so they can double down on Stephen A. Notice what he said. Laugh out loud. 100% joke out here in these streets. Stephen A., you only have a job because of Prescott, not the other way around. Hello. Stop talking about Dak Prescott. Let's see how it go. Stop talking about Dak Prescott. Let's see how it go. Look at this. No disrespect, but not the same. No disrespect, but not the same. I'm number one on my fantasy league. Give me a 5-year, $300 million. Come on, man. He think he's Woj. They don't even think you're better than Wojnarowski. Pretty wild comparison. I mean, we could just go on and on. Bro, really comparing journalism to being an NFL quarterback. Come on, Stephen A. Smith. You're too smart for this. You're too smart for this. But I know why you do this. Look at this. this N-word a troll. Look at this. MF want football player money for sitting and commenting on games. You know, I find it to be strange, Stephen A. Smith, you all that in the bag of chips in your particular industry, but you know, you saying that you're not, doing this in the eyes of the court of public opinion or whatever the case may be, even though that's exactly what you're doing. And it's also come out to them streets also that they didn't want no parts of you on Monday Night Football. I wonder why. You're number one in your field. Why would they not want the number one person in their respective field on Monday Night Football? Why wouldn't they? Then you're going to have to answer that, Stephen A. Smith. Why wouldn't they want you on Monday Night Football if you number one? I'm okay without hearing Stephen A. Smith yell and spew BS 24/7, but they hand out millions to anybody that talk it, so I wouldn't be surprised. Look at this. Look at this. This N-word not serious. Stephen A. Smith, find me somebody that agree with you. Find us somebody that agree with you. I can't go on anymore. I can't go on anymore because this, what you said, is insane. Wait a minute. Let me go back. Look at this comment right here. Look at this. ESPN, don't do it. I just said the same thing. Just based on what you said at the Bleacher Report, you done. In my eyes, you would be done. It's insane. How in the world? Look at this. LMAOOO. Bro, what? That's like saying brain surgeons got a 0.500 success rate, but my customer satisfaction score walking at Walmart is 100%. I'm fully aware of what I'm worth. Come on, man. You can compare yourself to Dak Prescott. NFL comedy skits. Y'all can laugh, but it's true. I would not watch First Take if it was not for Smith. Now that he and Shannon Sharpe are on there together, it's even better. Notice what that says. NFL comedy skits. I know why he's saying that. Because you're pure comedy. Pure comedy. It is a ridiculous take used to draw eyes. There it is. There has been no other high-profile, big money quarterback that has underperformed more than former first-round pick Trevor Lawrence. There it is. Do people understand that football is a team sport that has three phases? All the other major sports play off and defend. Play offense and defense. I can't go on any further. But I'm just saying, I'm sorry, Stephen A. Smith. No disrespect to you. I love what you do on the Stephen A. Smith show. But this stuff right here, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. It needs to be studied. And why do you talk about this man in particular the way you do? And you're saying because he wears a star on your helmet, well, maybe everybody needs to start holding you to the same standard because you have ESPN on the front of your name or the end of your name, or you work there. Because what you're trying to do, Stewart Scott is the bar. Stewart Scott is the standard. You don't hold a candle to him. You don't hold a candle to him. You're not even in the same conversation. And you're saying you're number one in your prospective field? I'm sorry, Stephen A. Smith. You just gotta recognize game, bro. You're not better than Ryan Clark. You're not. You're not better than Ryan Clark. You're not better than Pat McAfee. You're not. That's why they bought him on. You're not. You're not better than Pat McAfee. Because if you were, they wouldn't have brought on Ryan Clark. They wouldn't have brought on Mad Dog. They wouldn't have brought on Shannon Sharpe. They wouldn't have brought on Pat McAfee. That's why you crying. Because they gave Pat McAfee the bag. And rather than say Pat McAfee's name, you're going to say Dak Prescott's name. Because one, you know it's going to bring eyes. But anybody who listening to you, know You ain't talking about Dak Prescott because you can't hold a candle to him either. You talking about Pat McAfee. That's going to do it for me. That's going to be my time. Like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Everyone needs to see just how silly it is what Stephen A. Smith did. But until the next time, let's talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. Peace.